Ah yes, the Jewel of the Empire, Rintessia III, or you would know it as Holy Terra, the seat of the throne of Emperor Basant Akuros, our beloved undying monarch. In school we were taught that the Empire has stood for 350 years under the Emperor's divine tutelage. Hundreds of billions of people living and working together in peace and unity. But it wasn't always this way, no. The galaxy used to be riddled with war, various factions vying for power. This is the story of an upstart republic that would grow into a vast empire. This is the story of the last galactic war.
And so it begins.
The galaxy you know today didn't start this way. Let's dial the clock back, way back to 2955. The precursor to today's empire was called the Holy Imperial Republic. Their seat of power was the same Holy Terra. The emperor was in his 150th year as ruler after defeating the Xenox ascendancy centered around the Vulcan system. After a long and violent war with the Republic's forces, reigned supreme, and took all of the Xenox Ascendancy's territories, save a few. Let's introduce the factions. The Republic and the Antares, to their south, had a tenuous non-aggression treaty that lasted throughout the war. The Tikan Alliance, comprised of Kurolak Industries, Volpatir Consortium, Garrus Industries, and the Tikan Guilds, while not formal members of the Tikan Alliance, the Lozakic Domain and Had Abaddon Nation, and the Xenox Commonwealth all had non-aggression treaties with the Tikans. Independents were the Bosgaran Hive and the Ziltras Hive. The stage was set, alliances forged, past grievances left unchecked. All the major players in the galaxy were ready for a fight. War was on the horizon. In the few years leading up to the Great War, a smaller regional conflict between the Republic and Kurolak Industries broke out, but ultimately ended in a stalemate. Tensions were high in the galaxy. A powder keg was set to erupt. The Tikan Alliance and Lozakic had made secret plans to carve up the Republic and Antares Nation. The plan was simple. The Lozakic would attack Republic bases in the north, drawing Republic forces, while Kurolak Industries strike at the Antares Nation. Meanwhile, Volpatir and Garrus would provide material support secretly while remaining neutral. June 25th, 2955, Lozakic forces began attacks on Republic mining bases in the Theta, Visteni, Thanta-Zelbra, and Althuras systems. Meanwhile, in the south, Kurolak Industries had declared war on the Antares Nation. Kurolak strike forces crossed into Antares space and were met with heavy resistance. The Emperor received news early that morning. He and his most trusted admirals devised a plan to counter the aggression. The fleets would be splitting operational control into three main groups. Jurin Jackson would take fleets 21 through 30 to hold the south and center. Should Antares fall, Castro Hisari would take fleets 11 through 20 as the main thrust north and to the east. Lastly, Sawa Yablak would be given fleets 1 to 10 to strike into the Lozakic core worlds. The response was quick. June 26th, the Republic declared war on the Lozakic. Sawa Yablak's first fleet was sent to a Volpatir colony deep in Republic territory, Kalkadun, while his second fleet was dispatched to a Tikan Guild colony in the Lazarean system. These two systems would remain under siege for the rest of the year. No formal declarations of war were made at this time, but the Republic would not be attacked from behind the front lines. Meanwhile, Castro Hisari's fleets would meet the Lozakic strike forces and push the Bilbis, Korlarian, and Kalmatu colonies By August 6th, all three colonies would surrender to Republic forces. Using Drum Braden as a base of operations, Castro Hasari and Sawyablik's planned their strikes deep into the heart of the Lozakic core worlds. Sawyablik's 3rd through 10th fleets would be responsible for the capture of colonies, while Castro Hasari's 11th through 15th fleets would be responsible for hunting the remaining Lozakic navy and logistical support for sieges. The remaining 16th through 20th fleets would be tasked with Operation Cleanup. By December 30th, all core worlds of the Lozakic had surrendered to Sawyablik's commanders. The Lozakic moved their leadership further east, hoping to escape justice. The Emperor put out a 10 million credit bounty on the heads of all Lozakic leaders. Their faces were put on a deck of cards just to make sure that there was nowhere to hide. January 1st was the beginning of Operation Cleanup. Castro Hasari's fleets arrived at the Tikan Guild's core colonies of De Dalam, Sakreya, Ursa, Rian, and Rooster. They said the fleets rained nuclear bombs for 48 hours straight. While the sieges of Kalkadoon and Lazaria continued, the governor of each colony surrendered on March 9th after hearing that the core worlds of the Tikan Guilds was bombarded so heavily. Ground fighting continued on the Tikan Guild core worlds until the final surrender on April 4th, 2956. While Operation Cleanup was being conducted by the 1st, 2nd, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th, and 20th fleets, the redeployed 11th through 15th fleets had encountered an issue in the Eastern Tikan Guild colony. March 16th, 2956, the Had Abaddon nation declared that the Eastern Tikan Guild and Lozakic colonies were rightfully theirs and engaged Republic fleets in the Quotas system. Sawyablik dispatched the 9th and 10th fleets to reinforce the area while Castro Hasari's fleets continued their eastern push. On March 18th, the Republic declared war on Had Abaddon. Castro Hasari had redeployed all his forces into the Had Abaddon core worlds with the help of the 9th and 10th fleets. All worlds surrendered by July 24th, 2956. During this period, a new doctrine of massive bombardment followed by ground invasion was implemented after the successes of the Tikan core worlds invasions. No longer would Republic forces allow themselves to get bogged down in a land battle. They would use their space superiority with devastating efficiency. During the summer of 2956, the Antares nation had requested official help from the Republic. They gave gift of all of their Karabian spice to the Emperor as a gesture of fealty and goodwill. On August 7th, 2956, the Republic declared official war on Kurolak industries. The heaviest fighting of the war was about to begin. The plan was threefold. Now that the Had Abaddon were out of the way, Castro Hasari's forces would have to push through the few Kurolak frontier worlds and the remaining Lozakic worlds to open an eastern front against Kurolak core worlds, where the heaviest defenses are. While this is happening, Sawyablik's forces were deployed to strike at the Volpatir and Garrus core worlds. This would stop the material support, as well as open a northern front against Kurolak. Lastly, Jurin Jackson was to open a southern front from the Aburo-Gadu sand system. The goal would be to destroy the Kurolak forces striking the Antares and cut off valuable trade routes heading into the core Kurolak worlds. Operation Cobra began August 16th, 2956. There was light resistance at Kairousos and up Hadiran, but fighting began to worsen as Castro Hasari's forces met up with the remaining Lozakic forces and the Kurolak 24th, 25th, 29th, and 30th fleets at Tuala. Hundreds of Kurolak's heavy cruisers and battleships clashed against the 11th and 12th fleet's might. Fighting was heavy and both Republic fleets were forced to retreat. This would be the first major defeat by the Republic this war. Also started on August 16, 2956, Operation Anvil commenced in the galactic southwest. Jurin Jackson had committed 8 of his 10 fleets to pushing the Kurolak out of Antares territory. The 26th, 27th, and 28th fleet entered Antares space from the west, joining with remaining Antares forces as their planets came under siege by the 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th Kurolak fleets. At Aburul-Gadusan, Juran Jackson's forces struck out at the Kurolak 1st, 2nd, 4th, and 8th fleets. Fighting was brutal in this small pocket of space. Losses were great on both sides. Castro Hisari had deployed more forces to the front at Tuala. The newly redesigned and retrofitted 13th, 14th, 15th, and 18th fleets had engaged with the stubborn Kurolak 24th, 25th, 29th, and 30th fleets. After 2 months of hard fighting, finally victory was achieved with a total destruction of all 4 Kurolak fleets. By March 8, 2957, Republic forces were in control of not only the Kurolak eastern colonies, but the remaining Lozakik territory as well. Sawa Yablok's forces had finished their redeployment from the east back to the former Lozakik core worlds, and by April 12, 2957, the Republic declared war on the Volpatir, followed by the Garis on April 16th. Operation Hammer was about to begin. First, the Volpatir. Sawa Yablok's 1st and 2nd and 3rd fleets struck hard and fast on April 19th, hitting all core worlds. Using the latest doctrine of massive orbital bombardment, all worlds surrendered by May 17th. The 4th through 10th fleets would push south into the Garis core worlds and meet the Kurolak 20th to 23rd fleets. Fighting was heavy in the Garis core as Kurolak forces came to assist their allies. Back in the south, Juran Jackson's 21st fleet made a breakout at the Karmath system, destroying an important spaceport that was providing logistical support to the deadly Kurolak 8th fleet. On June 29, 2957, the Kurolak 8th was destroyed along with elements of the 1st, 2nd, and 4th fleets, all now forced to limp back to the core systems. With the south lost, the remaining elements of the Kurolak 20th and 23rd fleets would be forced to retreat as well. This was the break the Republic needed after months of hard fighting. The Kurolak 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 9th fleets would be completely cut off as Juran Jackson's forces pushed north and Sawa Yablok's forces pushed south to meet them. By August 5th, 2957, the Antares pocket was closed. With those fleets, 2/3 of the Kurolak admirals were killed, a devastating blow. Castro Hisari reports on July 27, 2957, that the Xenox Commonwealth and Zilchus Hive forces have been harassing supply lines at the Eastern Front. August 1st and August 6th, the Republic declares war on each territory respectively. Castro Hisari dispatches the 19th and 20th fleets to pacify the territories. August 14th, 2957, Juran Jackson's 24th, 25th, 26th, 27th, and 28th fleets, along with the remaining Antares defense forces, were mopping up the remaining Kurolak forces in Antares territory. Meanwhile, the remaining 21st to 23rd fleets had met up with Sawa Yablok's 3rd and 10th fleets to push into the western edge of the Kurolak core worlds. They would be met with some resistance, but the retreating fleets caused confusion in the remaining Kurolak Admiralty. It is only a matter of time until Republic fleets close in. The orbital bombardment doctrine is highly successful, and colonies typically surrender in only a few hours of bombs dropping. By September 23rd, Republic forces had pushed all the way to Luramax, all while destroying the Kurolak 10th, 13th, 15th, 17th, 18th, and 19th fleets. This marks the end of the Kurolak Navy. With only 7 full fleets and pieces of the 20th and 21st, it is only a matter of time. By September 28, 2957, bitter fighting has broken out at the remaining Kurolak core worlds as all 3 of the Republic operations close in. The Kurolak leadership is either dead or captured. The people elect a new head of state who offers unconditional surrender to the Republic. The Emperor graciously accepts, and the war is officially over. Hey, you're still here. Thanks for answering the Emperor's call today. Hopefully you enjoyed the change of pace from a regular playthrough. I wanted to show the ending of this series in a way that was different than just grinding through tens of hours of simulation lag and going well into the 3,000 year mark just trying to take over all of the various empires that existed. So this is a little behind the scenes. During the filming of this, I did get sick, and it costs some time, so I'm glad you've been patient with me and getting this out. It's been probably about 3 weeks of time to get this out. It's been a lot of fun actually making this video, so hopefully you enjoyed it a lot. I certainly enjoyed making it. This marks the end of the playthrough with the humans. The Emperor is not finished. The story of Basanta Koros is not done. He is essentially immortal, if the game allows that. It kind of does. And the Empire in this galaxy is almighty. The Empire's insatiable need for Karabian spice is not finished. He wants more. And I did mention that there were issues with the black hole, something calling to him, something saying, go and investigate. So the Empire has investigated, and some of the footage you're seeing in the background is of their investigation. They set up a Black Ops, so to speak, to go and investigate, and they sent a colony ship through the black hole. So we'll see where that ends up with in the next playthrough, but I do really enjoy playing Distant Worlds 2. The only thing I don't like is the simulation lag. I wish that it simulated better, but it doesn't, and that's just something we're gonna have to work through. So I will see you in the next episode. It will be a new playthrough, and we'll see where things go from there.